Hello, how are you today? We're going to continue with the analysis of Macbeth. In this video, we are going to analyze some of the most important scenes of Act 3. Yes, Act 3 is the climax of the play. Remember when we discussed the structure of a play? Yes, I want to share this with you in the whiteboard. Yes, remember that we said that plays have a structure, yes, like this. There it goes. One. The idea was that this looked a little bit better. Never mind. See if I can improve it. Like this. There we go. So we have Act 1. Yes, in Act 1, we have the introduction to the main characters and a state of equilibrium, yes, happening in the story. Then we have Act 2, in which more characters are introduced and the beginning of or the introduction to the conflict of the story is shown. And Act 3, that this is where we are standing today, is the climax of the play. That means the most tensional moment, the scenes that are most filled with tension, yes, and a lot of action, yes. And as from this moment is when the downfall of the tragic hero begins. Remember that in Act 4, we can see how the things start looking bad for the tragic hero, yes, and even some characters may die here. And finally, in the final act, Act 5, yes, we have the resolution of the problem, a restatement of the state of equilibrium that was at the very beginning, yes, and usually the main character dies in this scene and many others. Okay, so I wanted to remind you this because this is Act 3. It's a very important one. It's the climax of the play. Okay, let me stop sharing the screen with you. Okay, so we're going to listen to it from the very beginning, and we are not going to analyze word by word, but yes, some important moments from the play. Okay, so this is Act 3, Scene 1. Thou hast it now, King Cawdor glams all. Okay, let me find the. Okay, here we go.
Thou hast it now, King Cawdor glams all as the weird women promised. And I fear thou playest most foully for it. Yet it was said, it should not stand in thy posterity, but that myself should be the root and father of many kings. If there come truth from them, as upon thee, Macbeth, their speeches shine. Why, by the verities on thee made good, may they not be my oracles as well, and set me up in hope? But hush, no more.
Okay, up to here, yes, let's go over Macbeth's Banquo's words. Okay, remember that both Banquo and Macbeth were real life characters, real life people, and Banquo was actually someone who betrayed the king in real life. But in this story, in Macbeth, Shakespeare wrote Banquo to be a very royal person because, of course, remember that Banquo in real life is or was a relative of King James. And of course, he couldn't write about, he couldn't make a play with a character who betrayed the king. So that's why there is a little change in the story, yes, and it's not as in real life. Thou hast it now, King Cawdor glams, all as the weird sisters promised. So you have it all now, yes, all the prophecies have become true for you. king. Yes, you are the king, you are the Thane of Cawdor, and you are the Thane of Clams. All as the weird women promised. And I fear thou playest most folly for it. So, and I am afraid that you did something wrong to get to get those titles. Yet it was said it should not stand in thy posterity. So, yet he remembers the prophecy. Yes, it was said that he he wouldn't last forever as the king, because the prophecy said, look what he says after that, if you go to line 5, but that myself should be the root and father of many kings. Because remember that the prophecy for Banquo said, not happy, yet happier, yes, because you would get kings. You will not be the king, but you will get kings, meaning that he would be able to, his sons, Banquo's sons, would be able to be kings, whereas Macbeth has no kids. That means that the minute that he dies, that's the end of his kingdom, okay? If there come truth from them, so if there is any truth in the speech of the weird sisters, as upon thee, as upon you, Macbeth, their speeches shine, their speeches are true. This is what he means. So if what they told Macbeth became true, what they told me will also become true. Yes? Why by the verities of thee on thee made good, may they not be my oracles as well, and set me up in hope? So here the main question is, if they told them the truth, if they told him the truth, why shouldn't I be hopeful? Yes, why shouldn't I have hope that what they have promised to me will also become true? But hush no more, because Macbeth enters. Yes, and remember that now Banquo can be accused of treason, and he can be executed at any time if he is heard having these thoughts. Because now the representation of God on earth is Macbeth. Okay, so now he should be respected. So we continue listening a bit more, okay?
Here's our chief guest.
If he had been forgotten, it had been as a gap in our great feast, and all thing unbecoming.
Tonight we hold a solemn supper, sir, and I'll request your presence.
Let your highness command upon me, to the which my duties are with a most indissoluble tie forever knit.
Ride you this afternoon.
Okay, up to there. Here's our chief guest. You will notice that as from Act 3, Macbeth has a shift in his behavior, in his character. He becomes more resolute, he becomes more confident. Yes, he's the king now, okay? So he has a different attitude. And you will see that little by little, Lady Macbeth becomes the opposite. Less decided, less resolute. She becomes more hesitant, and she will become hesitant to the point of madness, okay? And Macbeth will become evil to the point that he becomes a tyrant, yes? And his ambition has no limit, yes? He will always want more, yes? Because now it's as Banquo said, he has it all, and yet he wants more, okay? And you will see, yes, that Macbeth starts considering Banquo his enemy, because Banquo is the only witness of that prophecy, yes, and he was suspicious, and Macbeth knows that he was suspicious about his actions, okay? So, of course, Macbeth is worried. He's not only worried, but he's already planning his death, and we will see now why. So, he will use equivocation. Remember that equivocation is a literary device in which I tell someone a double truth. A double truth, okay? So here's our chief guest. Here's our most important guest. If he had been forgotten, Lady Macbeth says, it had been as a gap in our feast, an old thing unbecoming. We have to say that Lady Macbeth is unaware of this because she has not she has no knowledge about the fact that Banquo was present during the prophecies. Okay? So she says she welcomes him because remember that Banquo is a friend from the family. Yes? So this party wouldn't have been the same if you were not here. And Macbeth tells him, tonight we hold a solemn supper. And this is where he uses equivocation. Tonight we hold a solemn supper, sir, and I request your presence. Yes? So literally what it means, tonight we have a banquet, a party, and I want you, Banquo, to be present at it. Yes, but there is a double meaning. Notice the choice of words that Macbeth picks. Yes, tonight we hold a solemn supper. A solemn supper. This is this reminds us of the last supper that Jesus had with his disciples before his execution. Yes, so in a way, Macbeth is inviting him to the banquet of his death, to the banquet, to the moment in which he will be murdered, to the moment in which Banquo will be murdered. Okay, so tonight we hold a solemn supper. A solemn supper. He means we are having a party tonight, and he also means tonight we're having the party in which we are killing you. Yes, there is a double meaning here, and this intertextuality with the concept of the Last Supper of Jesus that he has with his friends before his execution. Yes, and notice the alliteration of solemn supper, sir. Yes, the alliteration of the sa sound. Remember that alliteration is the repetition of the initial sound to emphasize a specific meaning or to give a special effect to the way a sentence is uttered. Yes, and I request your presence. And Banquo very kindly says, let your highness command upon me. That means I will do as you command. Yes. And as from this moment, he will start, Macbeth will start asking different questions. Yes, and these questions, they have a purpose. Yes, because Macbeth wants to make sure where Banquo will be, at which time he will be, and with whom he will be there. Why? Because he wants to kill him. Not only him, but also his son. Remember that I told you that Banquo has a son. His name is Fleance, and he is around 12 years old. We met him a couple of scenes ago. Yes? So Macbeth will start asking different questions. The first one was, write you this afternoon? So are you writing this afternoon? Okay? And Banquo says, I remember that it's a way of saying yes, I, my good lord. Okay? And we are going to continue listening a bit more, okay?
Aye, my good lord.
We had else desired your good advice, which still hath been both grave and prosperous in this day's council. But we'll take tomorrow. Is't far you ride?
As far, my lord, as will fill up the time twixt this and supper. Go not my horse the better. I must become a borrower of the night for a dark hour or twain.
Fail not our feast.
My lord, I will not.
Okay, up to there. Write you this afternoon. Aye, my good lord, we should have else desired your good advice, which still have been both brave and prosperous in this day's council, but we will take tomorrow. So he says, I would have liked you to stay so that we could hear your advice, because now he's the new king, okay? But we can talk tomorrow. Yes, this is a summary of these lines by Macbeth. And notice the second question. Is it far you ride? Yes. And notice that Macbeth is being very careful of mingling. Yes. It's like he's doing the sandwich technique, but not in Spanish English, but rather he asks something and then he says something more. He asks something and then he says something more. Yes, because of course he doesn't want to look suspicious. Yes. Is it far? You ride. As far, my lord, as will fill up the time. Twixt means between. between this and supper. Go not my horse the better, go not my horse the better, I must become a warrior of the night for a dark hour or twine. Twine means twice, yes. So here what he says is that he may be late if his horse isn't speedy, okay? But it's not important. I was just checking the glossary. Yes, it's not important. He said that he will be gone between the time of now, yes, between now and supper time, and he will be back by the banquet, okay? Macbeth replies, fail not our feast. Yes, another instance of equivocation. Fail not our feast. So in a way, he means don't fail to be present at the banquet, yes, because we are going to be expecting you. And this is a lie, because Macbeth doesn't want him to come back, because he's asking all these questions so that he can kill him while he's riding in the afternoon, okay? So this is the double truth, because he says, fail not our feast. So don't fail to be present at our banquet, but what he means, yes, the second truth or the double meaning is do not fail to be present at your own murder. Yes, do not fail to be present at your own murder. And Banquo, not knowing what he means, says, my lord, I will not miss it. Okay. Okay, then he talks a little bit more. Yes, they talk about Malcolm and Donalbain. That remember that Malcolm and Donalbain, the sons of Duncan, have run away. Yes, Malcolm is in England and Donalbain is in Scotland, and they are accused of having assassinated their father because, of course, like as the guards were dead and they run away, they think that they have run away because they have killed their father, when in fact we know that they have run away because they are afraid of whoever was it that killed their father. So we listen to this a little bit more.
We hear our bloody cousins are bestowed in England and in Ireland, not confessing their cruel parricides, filling their hearers with strange invention. But of that tomorrow, when therewithal we shall have cause of state craving us jointly. Hie you to horse, adieu, till you return at night. Goes Fleance with you?
Aye, my lord, and our time does call upon us.
I wish your horses swift and sure of foot, and so I do commend you to their backs.
Okay, up to here. So we hear our bloody cousins are bestowed in England and in Ireland. Sorry, I said that Donalbain was in Scotland. He was actually in Ireland. So he comments on this. Yes, we hear our bloody cousins, our bloody. Remember that cousins was a way of calling people at that time. Yes, it's not that they were cousins like primos. Okay, just our bloody fellows. Yes, are bestowed in England and in Ireland. Yes, they are hidden in England and Ireland, not confessing their cruel parricide. Yes, this word that we are hearing nowadays in the news. Yes, because this is what we call someone that kills their parents. And this also is a disruption of order. Yes, because a son would never kill his father. Yes, it goes against nature. It even goes against nature when a father kills a son in both ways, because they are meant to protect each other. Anyway, filling their hearers with strange inventions. So he says that Donalbain and Malcolm are saying things that are lies, they are telling things to everyone that are lies, that they are inventing rumors. Of course, Macbeth is protecting himself. And then we skip a couple of lines, yes, and if you go to line 37, 37 towards the end, there is another question. Goes Fleance with you? Yes, the last question, the last information that he needs to know. Is your son going with you? Because he has to make sure that he kills both Banquo and Fleance, because otherwise the prophecy will become true for them. Yes, because he will get kings from his sons. So if there are no sons, there will be no kings. So Macbeth wants to make sure that both of them are killed. So Banquo replies, "Aye, my good lord, our time does call upon it." So he says, "Yes, and I'm sorry, but we have to go. We have to take the road." And Macbeth says, "I wish your horses swift and sure of foot, and so I do commend you to their backs farewell." So this is a well-wishing for their trip, yes, which is a complete lie, yes, because I wish your horses swift and sure of foot. Yes, so he's basically wishing him to have a safe trip when he knows that this trip will be anything but safe. Okay. Okay, we're going to continue listening to this a bit more. Yes, then he will talk. He tells everyone, "Let every man be master of his time till 7 at night." So let everyone do whatever they want until 7. That's when the banquet begins. Okay. And then, yes, the servant mentions that there are some men that want to talk to Macbeth. Yes, and these men are Banquo's murderers. Okay. So he says, if you go to the following page, yes, this is line 49. Macbeth says, "Bring them before us. Bring the men before me." Yes. So the servant leaves the stage. Macbeth is left alone on stage while the servant goes and brings the men that want to talk to Macbeth. Okay, that these men actually are the ones that Macbeth called. Okay, and while Macbeth is alone on stage, yes, he performs another soliloquy in which he explains why he wants to murder Banquo. Okay, and while we listen to it and while you watch this video, I want you to compare two other characters in this story, Banquo and Macbeth. What are the main differences and also similarities between them? Especially, I'm sure that you already have thought of some of them, but listen to this soliloquy and start creating a thought about differences and similarities between these two characters. Because they are not too different, but they are very different too. Yes. So we'll see. So we are going to listen as from the part that we have stopped, but we are going to focus on the soliloquy. Okay.
Farewell! Let every man be master of his time till 7 at night. To make society the sweeter welcome, we will keep ourselves till supper time alone. While then, God be with you. Sirrah, a word with you. Attend those men our pleasure.
They are, my lord, without the palace gate.
Bring them before us. To be thus is nothing, but to be safely thus. Our fears in Banquo stick deep, and in his royalty of nature reigns that which would be feared. 'Tis much he dares, and to that dauntless temper of his mind he hath a wisdom that doth guide his valour to act in safety. There is none but he, whose being I do fear, and under him my genius is rebuked. As it is said, Mark Antony's was by Caesar. He chid the sisters when first they put the name of king upon me and bade them speak to him. Then, prophet-like, They hailed him father to a line of kings. Upon my head they placed a fruitless crown and put a barren sceptre in my gripe, thence to be wrenched with an unlineal hand, no son of mine succeeding, if it be so. For Banquo's issue have I filed my mind. For them, the gracious Duncan, have I murdered, put rancors in the vessel of my peace only for them, and mine eternal jewel given to the common enemy of man to make them kings, the seeds of Banquo kings. Rather than so, come, fate, into the list and champion me to the utterance. Who's there?
Okay, up to here. Let's see. To be thus is nothing. This is line 49. Yes. When I ask you, a typical question in my final exams is explore the theme of ambition in Macbeth. So this soliloquy, it's a perfect example of his ambition. Yes. To be thus is nothing. Thus here means king. To be the king is nothing. But how come? Yes, because 2 acts ago, he wanted to be the king, and that was the most important thing in the world. And he was so hesitant and so afraid of killing someone, but he wanted to be the king. And now that he finally is the king, to be thus is nothing. Wow. So that's his tragic flaw, ambition. Okay? So to be thus is nothing, but to be safely thus. So to be the king is nothing if I am not safe as the king. If my position as the king is not safe, it is just worthless to be called the king. Yes? Our fears in Banquo stick deep, and in his royalty of nature reigns that which should be feared. So he's basically recognizing that he's afraid of Banquo. Our fears in Banquo stick deep. He's afraid of Banquo. And in his royalty of nature reigns that which should be feared. So there's this nobility, this loyalty about him. He's so loyal to Duncan, yes, that I should be afraid of that loyalty. Yes. It is much he dares, and to that dauntless temper of his mind he has a wisdom that does guide his valor to act in safety. Yes. So he is someone who it is much he dares. He is someone that is willing to take risks. Yes. And to that dauntless, fearless temper, that character of his mind, he has a wisdom that does guide his valor to act in safety. So he's courageous, but on top of being courageous and willing to take risks, yes, he has this wisdom. Yes, he has this knowledge about life that guides his valor, his courage. There is none but he whose being I do fear. So he's saying, I'm not afraid of anyone but him. Remember that he said that he was afraid of the dead, he was afraid of many things. But now he says, I am afraid of no one but him. And pay attention, because as soon as Banquo dies, he will be afraid of someone else, and he will never be able to stop. Yes? There is none but he whose being I do fear, and under him my genius is rebuked. And under him, here what he means is that because of him, his guardian angel, Macbeth's guardian angel, is gone. Yes, my guardian angel is gone while Banquo is around me. As it is said, Mark Antony's was by Caesar. This is a reference to another play by Shakespeare. Yes. He cheated the sisters. He challenged the sisters, the witches. Remember how Banquo addressed the witches in that first scene that we analyzed. Remember how he silenced them with how he talked to them in a negative way, speaking slowly as if they wouldn't be able to understand. He even judged their appearance, saying things like, are you women or are you men? Because it's not clear, because you have beards. Remember that he said all of these things, and he even commanded them to give a prophecy to him. Yes, and not only to Macbeth. So he cheated the sisters. He challenged the sisters when first they put the name of king upon me and bade them speak to him. So now he's remembering what happened during the prophecy while the prophecy was being given to them. So he's saying he challenged the sisters while they came to give the prophecy to me, not to him. Upon my head, sorry, I skipped a line. Then, this is line 60. Then, prophet-like, they hail him father to a line of kings. So only after he asked them, they promised him that he would be hailed, yes, that he will be called father to a line of kings. Upon my head, they placed a fruitless crown. Who is they here? The witches. Upon my head, they, the witches, placed a fruitless crown and put a barren scepter in my gripe. So here what he's saying is they have given me a crown, a fruitless crown, fruitless because it is a crown that will die with me, and I will not be able to pass on because I have no kids, I have no children that could be my heirs, okay? And put a barren, yes, a barren, it's infertile, and put a barren scepter. A scepter, it's that stick that kings have in their hands, yes. Nosotros tenemos el bastón presidencial, something like that, okay? But at that time it was called a scepter. It's like a special stick. And put a barren stick, a barren scepter in my gripe, in my hold. Thence to be wrenched with an unlineal hand, no son of mine succeeding. So he is reinforcing this idea that they have given him a fruitless crown and a scepter that he will not be able to give to anyone after him. Line 65 in the middle. If it be so if it is going to be like that, for Banquo's issue I have filed my mind. So for them the gracious Duncan have I murdered. So if this is so, if what the witches told him is true, yes, then for on Banquo's behalf, I have sickened, I have polluted my mind. For them, for Banquo and his sons, the gracious Duncan have I murdered. So I have assassinated the king for Banquo, because he's the one that is going to be king. His sons are the ones that are going to be king. So I did, let's say, the filthy job for them. Put rancors in the vessel of my peace. I put poison. Yes, for them I have put poison in my peace. So I'm not peaceful anymore. I'm not calm because of them. Only for them. And mine eternal jewel given to the common enemy of man. Mine eternal jewel is my soul. So I have given my soul to whom? To the common enemy of man. Who is the common enemy of man? Satan. To make them kings, to make Banquo and his sons kings, the seeds of Banquo kings, the descendants of Banquo. Rather than so, come fate into the list. Yes, so he says, no, I will not let this happen. Rather than so, come fate, notice the personification of fate. Come fate into the list. Come fate, destiny into the battlefield. So I'm going to fight against my fate, against my destiny, and champion me to the utterance, and challenge me, and I will challenge you regarding this issue. And this is when the servant enters with the two murderers. Yes. If you notice, there are several differences between Macbeth and Banquo. So please draw a chart, yes, writing the similarities and differences between one and the other. Okay? Now, if you pay attention to the following lines, they change into prose. Yes, all these lines, this soliloquy is in verse. Remember that verse is a line of metrical writing that is arranged following a specific rhythm, a specific metric, yes, a specific amount of syllables, while prose, yes, is language that usually in Shakespeare's plays, not always, but usually is used by characters from lower classes, like these two men. Yes, it's more direct and unadorned form of language. Yes, it's ordinary language, let's say. Yes, and it's different from verse. You can see the lines that reach the end of the page. Yes. So basically what happens here, I'm only going to tell you what happens here. We are not going to analyze it, and we are only going to, I'm only going to show you some important lines along the conversation. Yes, Macbeth basically convinces these two men to go and kill Banquo. Yes. For example, if you go to line 114, it says, both of you know Banquo was your enemy. So apparently Macbeth calls people that have been enemies with Banquo. Yes, so the murderers say, true, my lord, so is he mine. So this is the first time that he openly states, Macbeth openly states, that Banquo is his enemy. So is he mine. Let me see. If you skip a couple of lines and go to line 128, Macbeth gives them the instructions to go and kill Banquo and Fleance, okay? And he makes sure to tell them to kill both of them. Yes, and it's interesting that Macbeth is the one planning this death and telling these two murderers what they should do. Because remember that a couple of paragraphs ago, when he was about to kill Duncan, he didn't feel this way. It was even Lady Macbeth, the one that said, we are going to do this, we're going to wait for that, and then you're going to go in, and then you're going to kill him, and then we're going to put blood here and there, and now we're going to wash our hands. And it was Lady Macbeth commanding Macbeth. But now we see Macbeth has changed. He has a different attitude. Lady Macbeth is not even aware of this situation. Okay? So it is Macbeth who plans the murder of Banquo and his son. Yes? So the murderers agree that they are going to go and kill them. Yes? And I want to go to the final rhyming couplet. Yes? It is concluded. It is a deal. Yes, he's alone here. Macbeth is alone on stage, and he says, it is concluded, it is a deal. Banquo, thy soul's flight, if it find heaven, must find it out tonight. Notice the final rhyming couplet, yes, that in Act 2, Scene 1, was, hear it not, Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell. So here it's a similar thing, but with the death of a different character. Yes, Banquo, thy soul's flight, yes, the flight of your soul, I hope it finds heaven. And if it does, it must find it tonight. Meaning, you must die tonight. Yes. Something that is interesting about these things that we are not going, that we have not analyzed, is that Macbeth, even though he gives them the instructions at the end about how they have to kill him, he never commands, he never forces the murderers to go and kill Banquo. He rather gives them reasons to kill them, to kill Banquo and Pliance. Okay, so that's an interesting thing because Macbeth is starting to function as a manipulator. Yes, he manipulates people in order to get the things that he wants. Okay. Okay, we are going to continue a little bit more. This is Act 3, Scene 2. Act 3, Scene 2, we can see a real change in the relationship between Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. Yes. So we're going to listen to this. Yes. And then we are going to analyze it. Let me find the right spot.
And, my liege. Aye, in the catalogue, ye go. Make us nightly better be.
Give me a second.
'Tis safer to be that we...
Resolve yourself.
Okay, here we are. This is Act 3, Scene 2. Is Banquo gone from court? Lady Macbeth asks. Pay attention to how the character of Macbeth and Lady Macbeth has changed, okay?
Is Banquo gone from court?
Aye, madam, but returns again tonight.
Say to the king I would attend his leisure for a few words.
Madam, I will.
Naught's had, all's spent, where our desire is got without content. 'Tis safer to be that which we destroy than by destruction dwell in doubtful joy.
Okay, up to here so that I can tell you what happens next. So what he says, is Banquo gone from court? Yes, so Lady Macbeth is in a very fragile state. Yes, and she's asking about Banquo, maybe because she's worried about him, okay? That may be an option. Aye, madam, but he returns again tonight. Say to the king I would attend his leisure for a few words. So tell the king that I want to talk to him, because remember that now that Macbeth is the king, even for his wife, you have to ask for permission to speak to him. Madam, I will. Lady Macbeth says alone on stage, Naught's had, all's spent. Naught means nothing. Yes. So here what she means is nothing is gained, everything is lost. So now she has become aware of the consequences of killing someone. Yes. Now she's truly aware that everything that they did has no benefit at all. Why? Because she doesn't have a clean conscience. Yes, she does not feel well with everything that they have done. Nothing, not had, all spent, where our desire is got without content. So our desire is never satisfied. This is basically a definition of ambition. It is safer to be that which we destroy than by destruction dwell in doubtful joy. Very powerful words. It is safer to be Duncan. It is safer to be that which we destroy than by destruction stay in this doubtful joy. Why doubtful joy? Because she cannot be at peace at all, because she's always afraid that someone will discovered what they did. Okay? Okay, so now we will listen to Macbeth as he enters and continues speaking. Okay?
How now, my lord? Why do you keep alone? Of sorriest fancies your companions making, using those thoughts which should indeed have died with them they think on. Things without all remedy should be without regard. What's done is done.
We have scorched the snake, not killed it. She'll close and be herself, whilst our poor Malice remains in danger of her former tooth. But let the frame of things disjoint. Both the worlds suffer, ere we will eat our meal in fear and sleep in the affliction of these terrible dreams that shake us nightly. Better be with the dead, whom we, to gain our peace, have sent to peace, than on the torture of the mind to lie in restless ecstasy. Duncan is in his grave after life's fitful fever. He sleeps well. Treason has done his worst, nor steel, nor poison, malice domestic, foreign levy, nothing can touch him further.
Come on.
Okay. This is a beautiful conversation that they have, and we see, I don't know if you could perceive the difference in the tone that Macbeth uses, the different way in which he addresses his wife now. So Macbeth enters, yes, and notice how Lady Macbeth changes her discourse, the way, because she was very sad, but now she will try to look as if she's not that sad. How now, my lord? Why do you keep alone? Of sorriest fancies your companions making, using those thoughts which should indeed have died, with them they think on. So, why, my lord, do you keep to yourself, and you stay alone with sorriest fancies, with your miserable visions, yes, your companions making, using those thoughts, those visions, which should indeed have died, with them they think on. So they should have died with Duncan. Your hallucinations should have died with Duncan. Things without all remedy should be without regard. So things that have no remedy, we shouldn't think about things that have no remedy, because they have no remedy. And this is one of Macbeth's most famous quotes: what is done is done. This idea of the irreversibility of acts. You cannot go back. You cannot change things. Yes? So what is done is done. And Macbeth replies, we have scorched the snake, not kill it. We have slashed the snake, not kill it. She will close and be herself. So remember, I don't know if you know that when you kill a snake, yes, if you don't cut her head, the snake keeps she keeps being alive. Okay, so this is very important, because he says we have scorched, we have slashed the snake, not kill it. Yes, we haven't killed it. She will close, heal, yes, and be itself again. Yes, whilst while our poor Maris remains in danger of her former tooth. Yes, so Duncan keeps being a threat to us because we have not fully killed him. Yes, because of course he wants to continue killing everyone that may be in the middle between, that may be an obstacle for him to be the king, and to be the king without any threats at all. Okay? But let the frame of things disjoint, both the worlds suffer ere we will eat our meal in fear, and sleep in the affliction of these terrible dreams that shake us nightly. But let the frame of things disjoint. Let the universe fall apart. It's like he's saying, let the universal order of things collapse. I couldn't care any less. Both the worlds suffer. Heaven and hell be destroyed. before we will eat our meal in fear. So I would rather let the universe collapse than eat in fear or sleep in the affliction of these terrible dreams that he's having. Better, the following line, yes, better be with the dead whom we, to gain our peace, have sent to peace. So it would be better to be with the dead, the people that we have sent into peace. But now we crave the peace that they have. So better be with the dead, whom we, to gain our peace, have sent to peace, than on the torture of the mind to lie in restless ecstasy. Yes, so he feels that both of them feel that they are being tortured, that their minds are being tortured, and that they would prefer being dead. So they are envious of the people who they have killed. They are envious of Duncan because he is at peace and they are not. Okay? Duncan is in his grave. After life's fitful fever, he sleeps well. Again, the theme of sleeplessness, because remember that Macbeth cannot sleep. Treason has done his worst, nor steel, nor poison, malice, domestic, foreign levy, nothing can touch him further. So treason has done his worst, and aside from treason, now nothing can touch him. Yes, he is under no threat. Yes. Okay, we continue listening a bit more.
On. Gentle, my lord. Sleek o'er your rugged looks. Be bright and jovial among your guests tonight.
So shall I, love. And so I pray be you, let your remembrance apply to Banquo. Present him, eminence, both with eye and tongue, unsafe the while that we must lave our honours in these flattering streams and make our faces visards to our hearts, disguising what they are.
You must leave me!
Full of scorpions is my mind, dear wife! Thou knowest that Banquo and his fleance lives.
But in their nature's copies not etern.
There's comfort yet. They are assailable. Then be thou jocund. Ere the bat hath flown his cloistered flight, ere to black Hecate summons the shard-born beetle with his drowsy hums, hath rung night's yawning peal, there shall be done a deed of dreadful note.
What's to be done?
Be innocent of the knowledge, dearest Chuck, till thou applaud the deed. Come, sealing night, scarf up the tender eye of pitiful day, and with thy bloody and invisible hand cancel and tear to pieces that great bond which keeps me pale. Light thickens, and the crow makes wing to the rooky wood. Good things of day begin to droop and drowse, whilst night's black agents to their praise do rouse. Thou marvelst at my words, but hold thee still. Things bad begun make strong themselves by ill. So prithee, go with me.
Okay, let us go back to the beginning. Come on, gentle my lord. Sleek over your rugged looks. So smooth your wrinkled looks, because he's frowning, he looks worried, yes. Be bright and jovial, so relax and look happy among your guests tonight, because remember that tonight is a banquet, and this is the first official banquet of them as king and queen. So it's a very important party, yes. So she begs him to look relaxed. Okay, so shall I, love, and so I pray be you. Yes, so Macbeth is confident that he will look uh, relaxed, and he says, and I beg that you look like that too. Yes, pay attention to Banquo, he says. Let your remembrance, let your thought apply to Banquo, regard Banquo. Present him eminence, meaning praise him, make him feel important. This is all a lie because he knows that Banquo will never make it to the banquet. Yes. Um, both with eye and tongue, and safe the while, that we must lave our honors in these flattering streams. So he's here using imagery connected with water, yes, with streams of water. So we have to use these flattering utterances to wash our guilt, to wash our honors in these flattering streams. Yes, so what he's saying is by using these flattering things, by saying these, by making people feel important and flattering them, we are concealing, we are hiding, we are washing away our guilt or the fact that people think that we look guilty. And make our faces visors, make our faces masks to our hearts, disguising what they are. So he's basically asking her to what the same that she asked him. Remember when she says, "Look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it." So he is asking her to fake as much as she can, and that she must be flattering and she must praise Banquo so that they are not discovered. And Lady Macbeth says, "You must leave this. You must stop talking like this." And look at this quote, a very famous quote as well from Macbeth. "Oh, full of scorpions is my mind, dear wife." Beautiful imagery to describe a sick mind. Full of scorpions is my mind, dear wife. You know that Banquo and his Fleance lives. You know that Banquo and Fleance are still alive. And Lady Macbeth, not being aware of the prophecy or the importance maybe of the prophecy, yes, because let's think that Macbeth is a little bit paranoid, and Lady Macbeth is not as paranoid as he is. Yes, so she says, "But in them nature's copies not eternal." So they are not eternal. Why are you so worried about them? And Macbeth is in his own train of thoughts. Yes, he says there's comfort, yet they are assailable, meaning they can be attacked. Yes, they are vulnerable. Yes, and he more or less we are not going to analyze these words, but he suggests that something is going to happen to Banquo and Fleance. So Lady Macbeth replies in line, if you go to line 44, "What is to be done? What is to be done?" And she's worried, yes. And Macbeth's answer is, "Be innocent of the knowledge." So I will not tell you because I don't want to put any more guilt in your hands. Yes, be innocent of the knowledge, dearest Chuck, till thou applaud the deed, till we can celebrate the action. Yes, because maybe it is better if you don't know until it is done. Yes. "Come, stealing night, scarf up the tender eye of pitiful day, and with thy bloody and invisible hand, cancel and tear to pieces that great bond which keeps me pale." So this word "come" here is an echo to that speech by Lady Macbeth. Remember that speech, that soliloquy, which has three comes? Yes, that Lady Macbeth addresses three different parts of the stage of the audience. So this is an echo from that scene, yes. But in this case, Macbeth is invoking again night, darkness. Come stealing, blinding night. Scarf up as if darkness would be a scarf. Yes. So scarf up the tender eye of fitful day. So scarf up daylight, and with thy bloody and invisible hand cancel and tear to pieces the great bond which keeps me pale. So he is invoking darkness because he needs darkness to perform his actions. Yes. We are not going to continue analyzing the rest of this short speech. We're going to stop here for today. I hope you made it till the end. And we are going to continue analyzing next class the scenes that follow. Okay, take care and see you soon.